Hi, my name is Ted with Legacy Brand Leather. If you're new to this channel, with the medium of leathercraft, my mission is to pass the torch. To me, that means to share a craft, passion, or heirloom with the next generation. In this video, we're going to be focusing on another Fidget brick, with the intent of really dialing in on getting a glassy, shiny edge by burnishing the leather with multiple stages of sanding and burnishing. I'm talking about getting a leather edge that is so shiny, it's going to reflect things up close. Yeah, let's get to it. What the Scrap is a recurring segment on my channel where we focus on what do you do with that pile of scraps that's just accumulating that you don't know what to do with because of the size, the temper, or what have you. I've been busy the past few weeks working on some wholesale and retail orders, so I haven't had the time to do a full video for you all. I have a few other videos that I'm working on that just require a bit more time and attention than I have for my workload right now. So this video was a way for me to revisit something I'd done before that was kind of easy, and yet I wanted to focus on a skill that would make my life ultimately 1,000 times harder. Anyways, let's get into it. Okay, we're starting out with some buck brown harness leather and some black English bridle leather. Here's the old one that I did for reference. Not too bad, but we can improve on it. I started cutting at the rough shape of the old one because I wanted to make this a similar shape. Then I just grabbed my straight edge and just started cutting. I decided I was going to go about 6 or 7 pieces thick, stacking back and forth with the different colors. So it looked something like this. Then I applied some Eco Weld, which is a water-based glue, and used my spreader to spread it out evenly. Then I used a surface rougher to rough that other edge so that the glue would adhere a little bit better. From there, I just repeated the process for all the layers. And as always, I recommend hammering your glue together so that it adheres a bit better. The roller is not necessary, but just trying to make sure that the glue adheres best. Then just enjoy your cheese cracker. Then I just repeated the process for the remaining pieces. Then I put the brick under my press to ensure that all the pieces were going to glue up together. From there, I just traced the rough shape that I wanted. I wanted to make it similar to the last one. I use my right hand Japanese knife, but you could use a smaller knife and just make multiple passes. If you can make it in one go, I recommend it because it's going to make your life way easier. This ended up being a bit thick, so it was kind of difficult. And from there we just start sanding. I started with 60 grit. Then I beveled the edges. And then 120 grit. And you're starting to see some of that shine come on the leather, even though it hasn't been burnished yet. Then 240 grit. There's some more of that shine on the leather edge. All the way up through till 800 grit. That's the first piece of sandpaper that I have that's not a rotary Dremel tool. At 800 grit, I started with a tokenol and then a canvas cloth to start burnishing. Then 1000 grit, tokenol, canvas cloth. And then 2000 grit, tokenol, canvas cloth. I made multiple passes with the sandpaper at each level and tokenol and a canvas cloth. I went all the way up to 3000 grit, that's the highest sandpaper that I have. Doing multiple passes with sandpaper and canvas and tokenol and wasn't looking too bad, but there are a couple spots that I just wasn't really pleased with. At this point, I was actually really frustrated. I wasn't quite getting the result I wanted and started from scratch. I went back to 60 grit and just started again. And I actually heard that you should start with water when you're sanding edges. So I applied some water and started sanding. At the time I was so annoyed that I just didn't film it, so my apologies, but the only thing that I had changed throughout the entire process was that starting with 60 grit, I was applying some water, sanded, applied some water, sanded again, and then I changed my sanders to the next one and I sanded again. I stopped using water though when I started burnishing with tokenol. So the lesson being that you want to have the most even, clean edge before you start sanding and burnishing everything. It's hard to see those imperfections to the edge when you're sanding at a lower grit like that. So you might start to sand and then go back a couple steps. But after sanding and burnishing my fingers off, here's the result. I honestly spent hours working on this edge. This is where I grew intense respect for those crafters who were able to consistently achieve a glassy, reflective looking edge to their leather goods. I understand how much work can go into it now. I'm sure that after many more hours working at this, I would find some tips and tricks to make my life easier and faster. But ultimately, it just takes a ton of time, and you have to ask yourself, who is this for? Do they care? When do I stop? And that's when I started to understand that this is a real passion for those crafters who get that glassy edge consistently. They take pride in it, and their work shows. It's dozens and dozens of various stages of sanding and burnishing and sanding and burnishing. I spent hours on this one edge. I'm proud of it, but I know it could be better. And I've seen better. If you're a crafter who consistently achieves glassy, reflective edges, I would love to hear from you so we can maybe share some tips and tricks with the community. Or if you're trying this out, here's a breakdown of my last session all the way through my burnishing schedule. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it and that you learned something. Please tag me on Instagram at Legacy Brown Leather if you're trying this out, or if you are spending some extra time on an edge that you're working on after watching this video. I would love to see it. I also post some product photos, process photos, and general rugged vibes, so give me a follow there. Visit my website, legacybrownleather.com, if you want to go to my online store. If you like this video, please hit that thumbs up below, and please subscribe. That shows me that you want to see more videos and more content like this. I will see you in the next video. Stay safe out there.